What's going on, everybody? It's Hunter here and Jake, and we are back. BoogiePod episode 52. No BoogiePod last week. Don't really have an excuse. Last time we just didn't do it. Just didn't get around to it. It was Thanksgiving. It was our break. Gotta get a day off from work every once in a while. But, Jake, how was your week?
Pretty good.
It was good. If I asked you last week, it'd been bad, though. Yeah, ask me how my week's been.
How's your week been?
Great now. It was going to be terrible, but Trevor Lawrence had to be generational and save everyone. So ain't that just awesome? But yeah. Besides that, I mean, some crazy things happened, I guess, football related, but nothing. More personal crazy things, football related than like just community wise, I guess, or like what am I trying to say? Like popular crazy things, I guess. But so pretty normal week for the most part. Clemson got upsetted. That sucks.
Yeah.
And besides that, we'll talk about a bunch of other things like the coaching carousel, and Desean Watson comes back, and we'll do our boogie polls and our power rankings, and we'll talk a little UFC, and we'll throw in a little World Cup while we're at it too. Just one little thing about USA. All right, start off with the classic boogie poll. Jake, go ahead and get started with 12.
Okay, well, warning, my boogie poll is kind of sus this week, so if anyone watches and gets angry, remember that it's sus. So my 12 is going to be Clemson. We did it 2 weeks ago, I had them at 11, so they're really not dropping that much because they lost, but considering how bad the quarterback play was, they still almost won somehow. It took a lot for them to lose. I still think they beat quite a few teams, even though the quarterback play is really bad, but I keep them at 12, I guess.
Yeah, at 12, I have Florida State. I've moved them up quite a bit. I think right now, if all the ACC teams were to stay how they are currently in this moment and all the games were replayed this year, I think Florida State would win the ACC. I think they're probably the best team in the ACC as we speak right now, and they won't be playing for a championship this weekend. But that's their own fault. It took time for them to build, and, next year will be their year. But got them at 12.
Yeah, they were an honorable mention for me. We didn't do that. But,
yeah. It's my fault.
11, I have Oregon. They just took a pretty bad loss to Oregon State because Oregon State completed like 5 passes. But I think it was, I don't want to call it a miracle win for Oregon State, but, that doesn't just happen every day. I think Oregon's still pretty solid to stay in my top 12, but I don't know. A lot of teams have question marks beside them. Like the first
It gets
9,
confusing when it gets to slate.
The first 9 we're talking about for me, I'm just completely confused.
Okay. At 11, I have Clemson. Got them one spot ahead of you. Dabo's inability to be a coach has really hurt this team this year, and it'll stay that way until he wants to accept transfers, until he wants to switch quarterbacks, until he wants to actually hold the quarterback accountable. I mean, Mugg literally had the nerve to get up on the press conference and say that it was not DJ's fault. He literally had the nerve to say that he said he can't catch the ball and he can't return kicks for us.
Well,
hey, man, that's fine. He also, guess what? Guess how many drop passes we had on PFF, according to PFF? 2.
Like 2 or 2, yeah.
2. He completed 9 passes. It's really bad. And I mean, the kick return it is what it is. I mean, you can't, it happens occasionally. From time to time, you're going to have a fumble, you're going to have a botched kick return. It just happened to be at the worst moment. That, you can't blame a game on that. And if Dabo would rather blame the game on that than DJ, then, hey, maybe he should go somewhere else and coach. Not for my team. But I'm very upset with him right now. I expect more out of Dabo. Especially, you got to hold quarterbacks accountable. You got to hold every player accountable.
You do.
And, and I feel like he's been making excuses for DJ all year. It's how I feel. And this one was really bad. Because all the other games, he was doing just enough. This game, he did way below enough and still barely lost. So you can't tell me. I mean, we could have had the 4th string out there, and we would have won that game. It is what it is. They would have completed more than 9 passes. Sucks. And not to mention, offense coordinator sucks. But regardless, they're 11.
Yeah, Dabo is definitely DJ's #1 fan. I've probably never seen a quarterback get more of a leash to suck.
It's terrible coaching.
It's weird. Coaching. Like, you never see that. If a quarterback's that bad for more than 2 games, they get yoinked. out of the starting position for a long time. But he likes DJ. He's a number one fan. So my 10 is Utah. They're playing USC in the Pac-12 championship game on Friday, I believe.
Yep.
And they kind of snuck in there. Oregon was supposed to be in it, but they took a big old L.
Yeah.
Utah and Oregon played each other. Oregon beat them barely at Oregon. That's why I kind of gave them the edge over Oregon because I think neutral field they probably win right now.
Mm-hmm.
They've been an under the radar team all year. They're 9-3, just very solid. I had them like being really good this year, but they're still good.
Okay. At 10, I have Kansas State. This is a team that will be playing for the Big 12 championship against TCU. TCU's only like 2.5, maybe 2-point favorites in that game. So Kansas State going to be rolling in there looking for the upset to ruin all their playoff chances. So got them at 10. They've done really well this year.
The spreads were sneaky close. They're kind of like that game to be a trap game. It kind of is definitely a trap game.
It is.
My 9 is Tennessee right now. If Hendon Hooker never got hurt, it would be quite a bit higher. But I'm actually, in my brain, I'm giving a bit of benefit of the doubt. I wanted to put him even lower. I'm a Tennessee fan because I really have no faith in Joe Milton.
Mm-hmm.
I like watching him throw the ball 80 yards, but too bad it's like 50 yards too far.
Yeah.
Good win over Vanderbilt, I guess. Defense shut up for once, but not happy with Tennessee at the moment, but I'll keep them at 9.
Okay. At 9, I have Washington. This is a team that's really snuck up in there. They are like the unsung heroes of the Pac-12. They're probably the second best team in the Pac-12. I think it goes USC, Washington, then you can get into all the other ones. But, I got Washington 9. They just keep winning. They won't be playing for a championship. That's sucks for them. They might be in a Rose Bowl.
Yeah. My 8 is Washington. I have 1 spot higher. Yeah, they've had just a good year. I think they had a better year than everyone thought.
100%.
I don't think they were projected to be very good this year, but they are good.
Yes.
So there you
go. At 8, I have Penn State. This is another team that's very similar to Washington. Snuck up on everyone. They just keep winning. I think they have the same record, 10-2 or something like that. Good for Penn State. Keep winning. You just can't make that championship because hopefully they'll get rid of divisions and actually play real football. But we'll see what happens.
My 7 is Penn State. The only loss is Ohio State and Michigan, who you're supposed to lose to. So they've kind of performed at expectations. They'd like to get that Ohio State game. They're pretty competitive, but Washington and Penn State were the 2 teams I would definitely had Tennessee above if it wasn't for the injuries. But yeah, for right now, I'll keep them at 7.
Okay. At 7, I have Alabama. This is a team that is like... See, I want to hate Alabama. And the reason why I want to hate Alabama is because all the people that surround Alabama talk about Alabama. Not Alabama fans. I'm not even talking about Alabama fans. They could be. But for the most part, it's just like the people that are delusional about Alabama is starting to really get on my nerves. And what I mean by that is there's a world out there where people think, USC wins out, TCU wins out, Georgia wins out, Michigan wins out, that Alabama's in somehow. There's people out there that truly believe that they deserve to be in over a Pac-12 champion and USC or over a well, that's really it, because there's no... If you really think they deserve to be in over TCU, then you shouldn't even be watching college football. You really shouldn't be watching college football if you think it should be in over USC, but that's whatever. That's side point. Alabama 7.
Okay, my 6 is Alabama. They're criminally overrated a little bit right now by the media, which they always are, but they're usually so good where you kind of can't overrate them. But this year, they're not as good, obviously, as past Alabama teams. I was going to say. Yeah, there's a lot of people about what you were talking about. A lot of people actually believe that they should be higher than Ohio State come tomorrow at 8 or 9 o'clock when they do the revealing of the ratings.
Yeah.
No shot. There's no argument, I don't think, really.
No.
I know they lost they lost close games to Tennessee and LSU they were away for both the games, but I just don't see it. I think Ohio State beat them if they played right now on neutral field.
Yeah, I
too.
think so.
I don't know. I just don't see it. But
yeah. At 6, I have the Tennessee Volunteers. I have them really high. And the main reason of that is I was hard on the South Carolina loss, and then South Carolina beat Clemson, and South Carolina is all of a sudden a pretty highly ranked team. I'd have them somewhere at 15 or 16. So now the loss ain't all that bad. They did get beat by a lot of points, and I'm not trying to defend the loss, but they still have a win over Alabama. They still have a blowout win over LSU. You can't just deny these wins as the season goes on. That's just not how it works. You can't give LSU credit and then not give credit to Tennessee. Some people do that, and that's literally what we were seeing in the polls before LSU lost. It's a blessing that LSU lost because there was a chance the team could have got robbed of a spot because of LSU, and they shouldn't have been where they were at in the first place. But that's regardless. They're not even in this 12 anyway. But yeah, that's why I got Tennessee 6.
Yeah. My 5 is Ohio State. Took a pretty bad L to Michigan at Ohio State. That's probably the worst L they've taken in this rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
It is the first year they've been beaten by Michigan at Ohio State since 2000, I think they said.
Long time.
Which I guess we'll talk about later about Ryan Day. The fans are mad. This is an unacceptable outcome for Ohio State fans, which I'm not blaming them. You're supposed to beat Michigan at Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's how I always view the rivalry. If both teams are good, you better win at home.
Yeah.
It's okay to lose away if both the teams are good, but they're still solid. They're still better than Alabama. So there you go.
Yeah, 5. I agree with you. Ohio State, baby. I'm just gonna instead of downgrading Ohio State, I'm gonna try to give all credit to Michigan, which we'll get to in a minute. Yeah. So same reasons you got them there. 5 Ohio State.
Okay, this will be viewed as a hot take, but I kind of have it as a power rating. 4. I have TCU. If this was deserving, they would be 3. But for right now, power rating wise, I think they're 4. They're very solid. They just don't seem to lose. They're great at coming from behind. And still winning. They'll be down by 2 touchdowns in the third quarter or something. They still win somehow. But they got a big test against Kansas State. And I think they'll probably get through it. Probably. It'd be very Kansas State of them to win, but for now, they're 4 for me.
Okay. At 4, I have USC. Mainly for the reason they lost at Utah. That's really it. Not a bad loss by no means, but it is a loss they have. And when you're splitting hairs at the top 4, a loss like that does split some hairs. So I got them at 4.
Okay, I have USC at 3 just because I think Caleb Williams, if they win against Utah Friday, he's going to win the Heisman. And I think he's clearly the best quarterback in the country right now. And he's probably the best draft prospect we've seen since Trevor a couple years ago. So I think Caleb Williams is the guy, and I like him. I think they could beat TCU right now if they play neutral round. Close game, but...
At 3, I have TCU. This is a team that's getting led by, in my opinion, the most underrated player in college football right now, and Max Duggan. He doesn't get talked about enough. He does not have the same numbers as some of the top quarterbacks, but you don't even hear him mentioned when it's in the Heisman. And he's probably a top 3 or 4 guy, at least, probably 4 or 3, somewhere around. He should be invited to New York. But you don't never even get here talked about him, so I'm trying to give him a little credit. And then Quentin Johnson, absolute animal. And the TCU defense is inconsistent, but when it comes to play, it plays. So I'll give them credit there. If they can get that defense to play in a playoff game, and then let their offense eat, they can win a playoff game. So, but I mean, it just depends who they draw and all that extra stuff. But surprisingly, I'd be really into a TCU Michigan game. I get up for that. It's a little interesting, but yeah, TCU 3.
Okay, my 2 is Michigan. Great win over Ohio State. Blake Corum was out. He played 2 snaps, and they still won by 20, I think, ish. A little more than that, maybe.
Yeah.
It could have been way worse because I think if Blake Corum played, it could have been his Heisman moment. He could have been there with Caleb Williams and probably would have won it. Really close. But sadly, he didn't play. But it doesn't really matter because J.J. McCarthy threw the ball really well. That was the big question mark if they could throw with Ohio State, and they did better. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
Yep. So at 2, I have Michigan. Same reasons you said. I was debating putting them at 1 because of the whole reason they didn't have Blake Corum. They went on the road and won like that, and I still have Ohio State valued high. And the more Tennessee loses, the less of a win that is for Georgia. But I still have Tennessee 6, so I still have to have Georgia 1. That kind of gave away my 1, but if you weren't going to guess that, then you're crazy. But yeah, Michigan 2 for that reason.
Yeah, I have Georgia at 1. They had kind of a stinker first half against Georgia Tech. I feel like Stetson Bennett comes to play in the big games, but whenever the lights are off and no one really watches Georgia, I'm not sure a Georgia fan.
The real Stetson Bennett comes out when the lights are off.
He played bad against Kentucky. He's played against Missouri this year. He has had some really bad games.
Yeah.
And if I was a Georgia fan, I'd be really concerned if I was a Georgia fan, at least. The playoff game, if he doesn't show up, you're going to get killed.
Yep.
Probably. Unless your defense just had a great day. There's a lot of it rides on Stetson Bennett's shoulders for the playoff. Yep. But for now, I think.
I was gonna say, if you're Georgia, you want no piece of USC, or if USC loses, and Ohio State sneaks into that 4th spot, I promise you don't want no piece of them. So
no, because Stetson Bennett's very good. He's a very good quarterback, but if they play against the guy that's like way better, like Caleb Williams or C.J. Stroud, it'd be pretty interesting. Because I think Max Duggan's better than Stetson Bennett, but he's not like a different world, I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't want any part of Caleb Williams.
All right. So that ends it for our boogie poll there. So let's go into my playoff poll. And we are down to 5 teams. There's 5 teams left that can make the playoffs. Unless this list gets below 4, then we'll start bringing back people from the dead. Or if there's a 2-loss champion, that's the only 2 ways they can come back from the dead. But with that being said, that is Georgia, Michigan, TCU, all undefeated, and Ohio State, USC with 1 loss. So here's the thing. I'm going to bring up a scenario real quick, and I just want to get your take on it, because since we were talking about Alabama earlier, and we won't talk about them no more the rest of the podcast, so might as well bring them up now. Georgia, let's say Georgia wins against LSU. Knocks them out, they're in, undefeated, right? They're the 1 seed. Michigan wins, they're the 2 seed. We'll say TCU loses a really close game. They now have 1 loss. Okay. We'll say USC wins. And man, never mind. This was not going to be as cool as I thought it was, because Ohio State's obviously in, aren't they?
Probably, yeah.
I was gonna see. My idea was, who would you have in between a TCU team that loses close to Kansas State in the Big 12 championship, so they have 1 loss, or an Alabama team?
I would put TCU in pretty easily,
would too.
Mainly because they have a really good strength of record right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have that statistic where how likely would all these other teams to have the same record as TCU or whatever they show in the playoff revealing thing. Yeah, they're getting disrespected a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've done my fair share of TCU disrespecting, but it's kind of like it gets a little too far. Yeah, sometimes whenever you put Alabama up with them as being able to pass them up because of 1 loss.
Yeah, and for all the people that are like, trying to hate on TCU and you're an Alabama fan, TCU kind of took care of Texas at Texas. Kind of struggled for Alabama to do it a little bit. That's the game that you're comparing, I'm just saying. So, all right, so let's go into our pick'ems. It's our last pick'em of the year, Jake. Conference Championship weekend. I am 19-9. You're 17-11. We'll do. We're gonna go all through all the ranked games that were with the previous rankings. So they could change. They're not out yet, so we can't go by them. But let's go with the American Championship. Number 22 UCF versus number 19 Tulane.
I'm going to go UCF. They beat them at Tulane last time, I believe. Mm-hmm. So I think they can do it again. Okay,
I'm going with Tulane. So we already switching up there. I'm wrong with Tulane. All right, number 5 LSU versus number 1 Georgia. I'm not even going to say the rankings because they don't matter. LSU at Georgia or versus Georgia.
I'm going to go Georgia.
Yeah, I'm also
close. That's a huge concern for their playoff.
Yeah, if that game's close and Michigan blows out their opponent, you could see Michigan jumping them. So we'll see. I actually think a lot has to do with Michigan jumping them and getting that 1 seed is if USC or TCU loses where Ohio State gets in, because they won't make a Michigan-Ohio State rematch. But if Ohio State's not in there, you could see that. Okay, Kansas State versus TCU. Big 12 championship.
Yeah, I'm going to go TCU, but it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a little bit of a scare. I think they'll get through it.
I'm going with TCU and probably I think this will be the best. I think this will be the best championship game. All right, Clemson versus UNC.
That's a hard one because UNC's been kind of slumping. If you asked me 4 weeks ago, I'd probably said UNC pretty confidently. They've lost some games they shouldn't have lost. Clemson quarterback play. It's weird. I'm going to have to go UNC, but I will not be shocked if I'm incorrect at all because I think Clemson could definitely win this. But
Yeah.
we go based off quarterback play. I got to go with old Drake Mays
Yeah.
over in BJ.
I don't blame him. This could be like his breakout moment a little bit. It's a good opportunity for Drake May. I'm going to roll with Clemson just for the main fact I think as much as I do not like the man right now and Dabo and DJ and all those guys, they do have a tendency to respond very well history once they lose a game. And I think the ACC championship means a lot to those guys in a sense they didn't get one last year. You know, a lot of people kind of always look at a lot of those big schools and think those championships don't mean a lot to them anymore as they used to. But when you don't win one, a lot of those guys have not won one. I mean, I guess you could consider that, like, not as starters, they haven't won one. So I think it'll mean a lot for them. I think they'll go out there and get it done. And I also don't like what I've seen from UNC the last couple of weeks. That's mainly the reason I'm taking Clemson. All right, Pac-12 championship, and I think you said this one's on Friday, and I think you're right. And that's Utah versus USC. Who you got in that one?
I'm going to go USC. I really want to see USC in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I really hope they win.
Yep, I'm also going with the Trojans from Southern Cal. All right, Auburn, they hired Hugh. Is it Hugh Freeze? Hugh Freeze?
Hugh
Freeze. Okay, regardless, I'm going to call him Freeze because that's a pretty cool name. But he was Liberty's coach, correct? Making sure I'm double checking right. Okay, so he was Liberty's head coach, and they just hired him. They got finalized and done not too long ago. But Jake, good hire, bad hire? What do you think here?
I would say it's a slightly above average. It's a risky hire. I would give it like a C plus to B minus. Hugh Freeze has had some success, but I don't know. I don't really know exactly what he did. I should have researched it because I really don't know. But might be some character concerns there.
I know what he did. I believe I know what he did.
Is this something we could talk about on the podcast?
Yeah.
I thought it was bad.
It's pretty. He took university money, and I'm pretty sure he paid strippers with the university. No, I think he.
Someone's done that before.
Yeah, I think he just done it for himself. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me. I think that's what I saw on Twitter. This is Twitter source. It's a Twitter source.
Yeah.
So take what. If you guys know in the comments, let us know for sure. Or double check me or whatever. But that's what I got from Twitter. I saw that.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a character concern hire, but I think it could work out. I think he could bring Auburn back to like sort of relevance.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah, I think. See, I was definitely okay with this hire. I thought this was a great hire. Then I saw who Wisconsin got.
Yeah.
And that hurts his hire a lot more, in my opinion. I'm gonna go with a B though. I'll still give it a B. I was leaning more towards a B plus to an A minus before. Well, I'm gonna go B minus. I was leaning towards a B plus and an A minus before. I'm gonna go B minus now with this hire. Still a fine hire. I think this is a better coach than who they got. And as long as you can keep his head straight, it's a good hire. All right, so let's move on to, speaking of the man himself, Wisconsin's hire of Luke Fickell. Jake, what do you think about this?
That is A plus hire.
Yeah.
I was always saying, why doesn't no one ever talk about Luke Fickell?
Yeah.
Because he's a great head coach. He's a really good recruiter. And I'm pretty sure he's bringing along some of his best recruiters from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I can't believe Wisconsin got him. That's a crazy good hire.
Crazy.
That's wide open. That's like the bad side of the Big 10 or 12. I get the
Big 10.
mixed up.
Yeah, Big 10.
Big 10. That's the bad side, is it not?
Yeah.
So they have like a real chance to make some Big 10 championship games now.
Yeah. Great hire. Absolutely great. I agree with you. A plus 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 plus. Auburn, what are you doing? How do you not get Luke Fickell, man? How do you not get Luke Fickell? Great hire by Wisconsin. Ain't nothing to say, man. Luke Fickell, go prove me and Jake right now, because it'd be a shame if he sucked now. But like you said, great recruiter. Dude's already have playoff experience. I mean, he's the only coach to ever leave a Group of 5 school to the playoffs. I mean, come on, man. He's built a little dynasty there at Cincinnati. Very shocked he's leaving for Wisconsin though, and Cincinnati's moving to the Big 12. Very shocking there, but I bet you it's for big money. So good for him. Next thing I want to get to is another coach, Ryan Day. So a lot of Ohio State fans are wanting him fired because of his loss to Michigan in the last 2 years. Agree or disagree, Jake? Ryan Day should be on the hot seat.
I don't know. I disagree slightly, but he's clearly not as good as the head coach as Urban Meyer. That's obvious. He's made them into kind of a soft team. They're not as physical as Michigan. That's kind of their downfall, it seems. He's on the hot seat though. I think. And the bad part about it is for Ohio State fans, they're probably going to lose to him again next year because they're going to Michigan.
Yeah.
And Michigan's probably only going to get better because J.J. McCarthy's coming back.
Yeah.
And Stroud's gone. Like 99% of the time he's probably going out. He wouldn't come back until the fourth year. But so if you think he's in the hot seat now, he's really going to be on the hot seat next year.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying let him have a chance to shock the world next year. Don't pull the trigger too early. And be really sure that this is not your guy before you let him go, because I promise you, there is nobody else in the Big Ten right now until one man that we just, besides Jim Harbaugh. What's his face? Luke Fickell still has to prove himself. But besides that, Ryan Day is the best coach in the Big Ten. And you got to realize what your goals are. Your goal is to win the Big Ten. Now, you're not going to get to do that this year, but you got really close. I know the expectations in Ohio State are different. I know they're playoff bound. I know they're national championships. But guess what? All it takes, TCU or USC to slip up, you're probably in. And I promise you, after all that celebrating Michigan did, they do not want to play you guys twice. Just be patient. I promise you this is your guy. I'm really confident Ryan Day is our guy. I know he's lost to Michigan, but I think he's your guy.
Yeah, another thing is too, like, who would you go get if you fired him right
Exactly.
now? Who would you reasonably go get? Like,
See,
you could say, I want Dabo or something, but you're not going to get him.
No, you're not going to get Dabo.
Like, who's better that you could actually realistically get? There's nobody probably.
Like, you had a chance to get Luke Fickell. Same state, man. Same state.
That'd have been it.
Yeah, same state. It made sense. He already has that state on lockdown. Not anymore. Well, besides Ohio State, I guess. But the only other coaches I think would leave for Ohio State that's worth getting over Ryan Day, depending on how TCU's rest of the season goes. Like, say if they win a playoff game, Gary Patterson all of a sudden becomes the dude. That's his name, right? Is it Gary Patterson? Coach at TCU? I could be really wrong right now, but TCU's coach, let's put it that way. I mean, there's some guys out there, but yeah, that shocked me that people were saying that. I agree that he's not on the hot seat. NFL power rankings top 5. Jake, you want to get started? Any honorable mentions?
Honorable mention. Oh, I had one. I'll say the Vikings slightly, but they're like a cold honorable mention. Like, they really don't deserve to be one.
Uh-huh.
They're like 8-9-2 or something, whatever.
Yeah. All right, my honorable mention is the Bengals. I had them in the top 5 last week. Then they won, but now I have them out. But it's just how I feel. It's just how I feel. Bengals 5 or honorable mention. Sorry. Go ahead with your 5, Josh.
So my 5 is the Dolphins. What'd you say?
I called you Josh. That's bad. All right, go ahead.
Okay. My 5 is Dolphins.
Okay.
2 is playing very great. I think they had an injury on their offensive line that could be pretty concerning. But
okay, so all right, so this gives me a chance because I figured you'd had Dolphins in your top 5, and I'm gonna play spoiler a little bit. They're not in my top 5. They're not in my honorable mentions, and I'll tell you why. It's because the defense scares me. That's why.
That's fair.
That's the only reason I don't have them in the top 5. Going to my number 5, and that is the 49ers. I have the San Francisco 49ers. Ever since they've made the moves and Jimmy G has came back as a starter, they've been great. It is a team that has a good chance to get to the Super Bowl. And besides that, great defense too. They've really stepped up this past week. If you can just get Jimmy G to the playoffs and let him cook, you'll be in good shape. So 49ers 5.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have the Niners on my list yet. I think they're kind of being underachievers on offense. Even though they just killed the Cardinals,
they are.
Beating the Saints 13-0 is underachieving really bad.
It is.
That's like really bad. There's not many teams that get away with that. National media will not hear about it. 'Cause you can hear about that today. How they want to beat the Saints 13-0. But anyways, my 4 is the Cowboys. It's pretty close between them and the next team. I have a good, pretty solid win over the Giants. Bad first half. It's good to see them bounce back, show they have some heart on them, and bounce back and score 3 touchdowns unanswered. Little turnover issue right now, Dak. If you actually watch them, they're not like the most crazy picks you'd ever see. They're not fumbling the ball right now. I'm not going to wood, so.
Yeah.
But I think they're a solid team.
All right, at 4, I have the Chiefs, and the concern of why I got them 4, I do have a concern. I have a concern about the Chiefs, Jake. Hold on. And it's receiver play. I know. Listen, I know. Juju's cooked. I get it. All right, I get he's done good. I get they went out and got Mr. Tony. I get they got who's the other guy? Yeah, thank you. And I know they have Kelsey. I'm not worried about Kelsey. But here's the thing. When you get to the playoffs, you're going to face good defenses. When you face these good defenses, are these receivers going to be putting up the same numbers? Because the reason why they're putting up the numbers now is because they have Patrick Mahomes throwing to them. When they're facing good corners, how will this work? I think Totten showed a great game plan against them. And there's been a couple times where Chiefs have been in some sus games. Chargers, a little sus. I mean, there's times. I know that wasn't really a defense. Their offense still cooked there. And that's another thing. When you get in the playoffs, you're going to face good offenses. And their defense gets questionable. I think this is a very team that is good on both sides of the ball, but they don't have a great side of the ball. And that's what worries me a little bit. I say that offense is not great. It's good.
You don't think the offense is great right now?
I think it's good.
Okay.
It's just because receivers. I know Juju's been great, but I'm not sold. 4.
Yeah, if they keep Tyreek Hill, they really should have done that.
Yeah.
They should have kept Tyreek Hill in the offseason. He's like the best receiver in the NFL all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But my 3 is the Eagles. They've been playing some sus football. A.J. Brown is having a fumble problem. I saw there's a rumor he's like really sick or something. But he's still playing. That would make sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Fumbling. That's more of a, I don't know. But they've been playing some close games. They barely beat the Colts with Jeff Saturday as their coach, who's actually been doing okay.
Yeah.
That Packers game was good last night, but I don't know. The defense kind of fell apart a little bit. They let Jordan Love kind of sling the ball around a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're obviously super well-rounded. I don't have faith. I think Jalen Hurts has been really good. I'm a Jalen Hurts hater a little bit like that, so it's kind of natural. But I worry about him in the playoffs a little bit. We'll see. Because I know last year they weren't really good. They still snuck in. They got blown out. But he didn't play good. And we'll see how it just translates. But for now, they're my 3.
Okay, at 3, I have the Eagles as well. Mainly for the same reasons you mentioned. I thought it was an encouraging. I like the Eagles' defense a lot. I actually think it's pretty good personnel-wise, and I know they struggled last night against the Packers, but it felt me feel a lot more confident from the Eagles' offense. Obviously, I think the biggest hole in that offense is the running back, which is a shame. Whenever you have an offensive line like that, you could literally go get anyone else but Miles Sanders, and they'll be just fine. But if that's your biggest hole, I think you're fine. Look at the Bills; their biggest hole is running back. So I think it's I think you're fine there. And defense, I think you're fine. Quarterback is a question mark once we get to the playoffs, but we're not there yet. So I got them 3.
Yeah. I was going to say something about the Eagles. Yeah, they're kind of similar to the Bills because right now for the Bills, Josh Allen leads their team in rushing, or at least he did before this game. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
That's never good.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts rushed for like 157 yards yesterday, which is crazy. It's at a record. It's wild. That's not good for longevity, but for winning these games now, it's good, I guess.
Yeah.
But, my 2 is the Bills. Kind of a weird game against the Lions. They just played on Thanksgiving, but I think neutral ground in like a playoff game, I think I'd take the Bills over everybody else on the list below them. I had a good point about the Bills. Oh, never mind, you go ahead.
Okay. At 2, I have the boys, Dallas Cowboys. Defense is remarkable. It's insane. Such a good defense. And Dak does have, I know you'll defend him and say the interceptions aren't completely his fault, and I understand that. And I've listened to you, and it doesn't sound like they're his fault. But it's like whenever you catch the interception bug, regardless if they're your fault or not, they do happen. And that right now is the only issue I have out of him. I think he is the most underrated player in the NFL right now. And besides that, my only question, especially if they get Odell.
Yeah.
I agree with you. You said if Jerry Jones really wants a Super Bowl, he'll go get Odell, and I agree. I think Odell is a must-have to go have I still think you have a chance to win it, but if you really want a great shot, I think Odell's that breaker for you. So we'll see what happens there. But right now, too, offense doing great, in my opinion. I think they've done great. And defense is just insane player for player. When you have Micah Parsons, you literally have stick man out there, and Micah Parsons will wreck the whole field, so it don't matter.
Yeah, I think about Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb is quietly into the number 2 spot in receiving yards in the NFC behind Justin Jefferson. No one talks about that, but and that's without Dak for like 4 or 5 games. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But my one is the Chiefs. I think they're clearly the best offense in the league right now, in my opinion. Best quarterback in the league. They got the best tight end in the league. So I do agree with you about the defense. I disagree with you about the offense. I think the offense is really good, but the defense is a question mark. And they never really had the best defense since Mahomes has been there. I don't believe. Like, they've been good, but they've never been like really good. That might be a cap issue because of Mahomes' contract, but I think right now they're clearly number 1 for me.
Okay, at 1 I have the Jaguars. Great win against. No, I'm just playing. At 1 I have the Bills. I'd still take the Bills over everyone. On a neutral ground right now. I know Josh Allen has had issues. I still am on the train that this team is a team of destiny right now. Still on that. So I would pick them right now to win the Super Bowl. So I got them 1. Okay, let's move on. Deshaun Watson comes back this week. Jake, how will Deshaun Watson do against the Texans this Sunday?
Wow, what a game to come back.
I know.
Team. I didn't realize that. You just said that.
I'll double check, but I'm like a 9% positive Texans.
I bet you he does about right on par with how Jacoby Brissett has been, which is like pretty fine.
Yeah,
I think.
Jacoby Brissett hasn't done that bad.
He's like I've seen TikToks. People kind of feel bad for Jacoby Brissett because he's been a good leader for the Browns, and he's kind of getting pushed aside to Deshaun Watson.
It's a shame.
You know?
Yeah, I feel bad for him.
It's a pretty big shame. I hope Brissett can move on to another team and get a starting job as a bridge quarterback or something. Just get some plan. He deserves it. But I think Watson will be fine. And I think you'll hear about how Brissett looked just as good, but his price tag is way lower.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it wouldn't shock me if he played really good because it's his old team. He has a chip on his shoulder. But for his first game back in 2 years, it's a lot to ask for him to play that well.
Yeah, I think he'll do really good. And I think just because it's the Texans and it's its old team, there's a little extra feel there. That's why I think he'll do really good. But I can also see the complete opposite where he does awful. I disagree with you in the Jacoby Brissett thing because I don't think he'll be in the... I could be completely wrong, but I do not think he'll be in the middle. I don't think he'll do just okay. I think he'll have a great performance or he'll have a really bad performance. So those are my 2 guesses right there. I know those are complete opposites, but it's because he's playing his old team. So to me, it comes down who's going to win. Is it going to be Deshaun or is it going to be Houston? I'm not saying the game. I'm talking about individual. So, great game to watch, though. I'm excited. And they do play Texans. I did double check. So, all right. So let's move on to our college basketball pick'ems. We did it the opening week. Didn't do it last week. I'm 4-2. You are 2-4. So let's kick off Wednesday, number 25, Ohio State, at number 17, Duke.
Duke.
Okay, I also had Duke. I'm rolling with the Blue Devils. All right. Also on Wednesday, number 18, UNC, at number 10, Indiana. Let's make sure.
The UNC's on a 2-game losing streak. They won't be 3, so I got UNC.
Okay, I'm rolling with Indiana. I don't like what I saw from you. I'm rolling with IU. Thursday, number 7, Creighton, at number 2, Texas. Look at them Longhorns.
Wow, number 2. I'll go Texas.
All right, I'm rolling with the Longhorns too. Hook 'em horns, baby. Going into Friday, number 6, Baylor, at number 14, Gonzaga.
Wow, Gonzaga's 14. I'll take Baylor.
Okay. I'm rolling with the Gonzaga. They've already lost 2 games. Kind of the same reason you took UNC. I don't think they'll lose 3. So, number what is that, Hunter? I literally wrote down nothing. I wrote 16 and I done nothing. Hold up. Jake, talk about something real quick. You gotta make sure this is. Yo! That's actually bad. Where's Maryland play? Maryland. Okay, it's number 22 Maryland. Versus. That's who it is. Okay, I see why. Okay, I wrote down the wrong abbreviation for him. That's why. Okay, it's number 16 Illinois at number 22 Maryland. What?
Maryland.
Alright, I'm also rolling Maryland. Okay. Well, that took longer than it needed to. Let's move into the UFC. We have actually a great fight night card this weekend. Pretty crazy. It's pretty loaded. We're only going to talk about the main event, but recommend you go check the rest of the fights out. Good fights. So our early prediction for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Kevin Holland.
No idea what's going to happen. It's pretty good. If they finally gave Wonderboy a good style matchup after like 5 fights in a row.
Yeah.
I think he's getting too old for it. I'm going to have to go Kevin Holland.
But how?
There's times when a fighter is just done because of age, and I think Wonderboy, you're about to see it, in my opinion.
Okay.
Wouldn't be surprised if he somehow pulled off a decision, close one, but I really would be surprised if he knocked out Kevin Holland. I'd be surprised if there's a finish either way a little bit. I think they both got pretty good chins.
Yeah.
But I'll go Kevin Holland decision. I think Wonderboy's too old.
Okay, I'm rolling Kevin Holland because of the age. I'm going knockout round 2. I'm actually gonna hit you in a little opinion here. I think actually both of them have really weird chins. I don't think both of them have great chins. I think there's a great chance Wonderboy knocks him out in this fight. But I'm gonna roll Kevin Holland knocking out Wonderboy in round 2. The age, the speed of Holland, and the unorthodox of Kevin Holland. I think we'll get to Wonderboy a little bit too. We saw Jeff Neal hit Wonderboy a lot, so. But it's been hard to figure out Wonderboy in the past, but he slows down with age. It's going to get a little different. It moves on to our fan questions. If anyone has any questions, drop them now. But let's go into our Jake question of the week. Jake, hit us with it. Anything.
Okay. If Aaron Rodgers was to get traded, where would he go? It's a good one.
Titans.
On the fly right there. You think he'd go to the Titans?
I think he'd go to the Titans.
I wish he'd go to the Titans.
Because doesn't he not have a house in Nashville?
They said he did, but I don't know. He probably has houses everywhere.
True. Because I think that's the team that's most ready to win now with a quarterback hole. The Titans.
You think he'd want to be traded to AFC, though?
No.
You got to go through a lot of other good quarterbacks to, I think. I'd probably say the Titans, too. It would make the most sense based on what they have. But I just think
49ers?
with Rodgers, that's who I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, 49ers.
Well, they're getting ready for Tom Brady. Tom Brady's going to go with the 49ers. That's my hot prediction of the entire year, this century. Tom Brady, if he does not retire, he will be a 49er next year.
I mean, what's
it's
the team?
Really bad for football.
What's the teams that are in the playoff picture with no quarterback? Titans,
Washington,
Jets,
Washington.
Man, I guess
Giants. I won't disrespect Danny Dimes. He's all right.
Titans, Jets, and 49ers. 49ers would make the most sense.
Jimmy G like that. What the heck? No quarterback.
49ers.
You're a big Jimmy G guy.
There's a hole there. To say, I think you're not gonna like me for this. I think I'd put Ryan Tannehill and Jimmy G on the same tier. I think of them the same way. I think of them the same way. Except one's a winner and one's not.
Yeah, Tannehill is a pretty big winner.
That's funny. Loser he is.
He's not a live. We're about to see December 11th or something. We'll see live, buddy.
You caught me there. I knew you don't like talking about him. I shouldn't have said anything. It's gonna come back and get me. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. I take it back. He's a great player. He's a great quarterback. I take it back. He's SS tier. He's generational, not Trevor. I take it back. Ryan generational Hill.
Another comment. My Jinx plan was 100%. It worked completely.
Your Jinx plan.
Pick'ems. Remember the Jinx?
Oh,
the Clemson.
Yeah, it worked perfect.
Clemson to win. I picked Vanderbilt to cover, and neither happened.
It's
pretty predictable.
Yeah, I mean, you picked it perfect. I knew that was what was going to happen. As soon as you picked them, I was like, Tennessee lost. That sucks. Or, I mean, Clemson lost. That sucks. It's awful. You should take UNC for fun, even though you're not doing it. Put them in there. See if the Jinx will still hold on if there's no game.
I got Clemson.
So dumb. You don't want to see Tennessee and Clemson in a bowl game? You just don't.
No, I don't. I don't.
Well, if you really think about it, though, because Dabo has like the big thing about no opt-outs and stuff. Like we're the team with the fewest opt-outs in the entire country, regardless of draft position and stuff. We just don't opt out at all. It's just something they do. It's something they believe in there, whatever. But you'll have a lot of Tennessee players opt out because a lot of them are going to be high draft picks and things like that. So really, you guys would be going in that game with nothing to lose. So why not?
I have everything to lose.
Well, you got to. I'm not. I know who's the better team. Fully healthy, we know who's the better team.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I just don't want to. I don't want to play. I'd rather play.
There's no
Kansas State or something here.
A Tulane.
I don't want to play Tulane. That's a win. Actually, I'm not really free. They probably beat us right now. I'd rather Tennessee not play a bowl game. Just go home.
Just go home, pack it up.
Yeah, get ready for next. I don't want to see John Milton play. I know I don't want to hate him to do too much on podcast, but that's why Clemson win. Because their DBs are kind of bad, but it don't matter if you're not hitting the wide receiver wide open. So.
True, and who's even going to be running routes for you? They're all going to the NFL.
No, there's a chance Hyatt comes back.
Wow. That'd be pretty great.
It'd be big though if he came back.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, that'll do it for this BoogiePod. Really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Maybe clips out, maybe not. You know how I roll. Some weeks I'll do them, some weeks I don't. We'll see what happens.
When's the last time a clip came out? Like 3 or 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, something like that.
Why do you even say
It's cause like 1 week I'll get the motivation to do it. It's really because of school. Once school's over, which is very soon, clips will be rolling out. Trust. And gaming channel might be coming up again. It's up there, right here, right above me. Right here. Boogie Game and Boogie Sports. It's right there. Follow them both. Gaming channels come back alive. Just wait. It's all happening. TikTok might start posting on TikTok again.
Certainly not.
You never know. You never know, man. School ends. I'll be motivated to do things again. Right now, it's just awful. So, and that'll do it for this one. Really hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.